Do you have a partner who's constantly nagging, like, you didn't do this, you didn't do that? Why did you do this? Why did you do that? They're just constantly upset and annoyed. Once in a week, you are in a good mood and you talk to them and it's ruined. Negativity can just come anytime. You spend most of the time just managing their mood and you end up feeling that you can never make them happy. If you feel like that in your relationship, today I'm going to give you 5 important principles that are really going to help you. These are very basic ones but very fundamentals and often forgotten. Do watch all of them and try to apply them right away. First one, don't minimize or invalidate their emotions or complaints or issues. Basically, don't make them feel like, oh, your problems are nothing. Like, don't say things like, you just want to complain. Yeah, here comes another issue. You just can't see me happy, can you? When you act like this, you are basically telling them that your issues and complaints are useless, irrelevant, they don't matter. And this is never a good idea. Their issues are valuable for them. So you also have to believe their story. You also have to respect their issues. Now, whether you solve it or not, that's another story, but you have to take it seriously. You can't act like she's crazy or he's crazy, so I don't even have to listen. They are not crazy. They are reasonable, intelligent, just like you. I know sometimes it can get very difficult because there's just so many endless issues, right? But no matter how many they are, the solution is not to snub it. Don't try to ignore it. That will only make things worse, as you might have seen so far. Because when you ignore their complaints, now they have an additional complaint and now you're not even listening to me. I can't even talk to you anymore. Do you even care about anything I ever have to say? And now your partner is extra upset because you're just not listening. You're not taking them seriously. Second principle, understand them fully and summarize. This is probably one of the most fundamental skills in communication and especially in conflict resolution. The problem with you is that they're constantly talking and yapping and just repeating their issues, right? Well, think about it. Why do they have to repeat so much? Maybe you haven't taken the time to actually fully understand them. Or more importantly, you haven't taken the time to make them feel understood. So this should be your go-to thing. Whenever things are getting messy, just take the time to listen and just summarize them. Okay, this is what you want to say, right? You are upset because of this and this reason and you want me to do such and such. Is that it? Or is there anything else? Keep summarizing them until they can say, yes, now I'm satisfied with your summary. That is the test for you. Unless they give your summary passing marks, your task isn't over. Keep listening and then summarize better. Because once you do this properly, now they don't have to keep talking about the same thing. Now they can stop. Again, the issue may or may not resolve, but at least they won't have to repeat the same thing. And that's good for both of you. So make it like a rule in your relationship. Constantly summarize each other. Okay, what do you think I'm saying? Can you just tell me? Okay, let me tell you what you are saying. In the middle of conversations, whenever somebody brings out something new, summarize it, paraphrase it. Third one, take responsibility for your share of mistakes and apologize. In complex issues, in big fights, both of you are often at fault. One more than the other, of course, but both people end up making some mistakes because nobody's perfect. Like he got irritated for no reason, but then she got abusive. An escalation of fights almost necessarily happens when both of you are reacting in problematic manners and both of you are making some mistakes. So as you're resolving things, be very, very willing to take responsibility for your share of mistakes. Okay, I shouldn't have said that. Okay, I should have remembered. Okay, I could have done that differently. I'm sorry. So many times, the other person is simply looking for this acknowledgement. Sometimes the issue is not that big anyway. All they want is an apology and a sincere commitment that you would probably try to do something differently next time. And oftentimes you also realize that, oh, I did mess up. But overtly, you have your ego. You don't want to say that out loud. You don't want to apologize. Because by apologizing to this nasty human being, you'll feel smaller. Like, why should I? I mean, I'll apologize to anybody in the world, not to this idiot. And that only makes matters worse. The thing is, you will never know the potential of the relationship until you have done your best part. What if, because of your lack of apology, lack of acknowledgement, things have been just deteriorating over the years and years and years? So you're thinking he's reacting in unreasonable manners. Maybe it's because you have been stuck up too. You have been defensive. You have been egoistic. You have been selfish. So do your part well. At least you'll be able to go to sleep well. Okay, I made a mistake, but then I took responsibility for it. At least I have done my best. So always be very open to thinking about what did I do wrong and be very willing to say it out loud and apologize. Fourth principle, Compromise. Now, this is probably one of the most difficult things because usually you have this air of righteousness because I have not done anything wrong. I have not intentionally harmed anyone. I'm just being myself. I'm just trying to live in this reasonable manner. I'm trying to live and let live. Why the hell do I have to change? Why should I compromise? See, first of all, everybody thinks that they are right. Now, nobody will say they are perfect, but in a particular situation, everybody say, well, in this situation, in this problem, I am pretty much perfect. I did nothing wrong. So you're not that special when you think you've done nothing wrong. Everybody thinks like that. And in reality, of course, we are all flawed. So we all must compromise to some degree. But sometimes you actually have to compromise even when you are absolutely right. Because in such cases, you're compromising not because you did something wrong, but because you want peace. Because you are also living with a human who's imperfect, who's flawed, and you have to adapt. You have to find a way to coexist. Your partner may have some weird triggers that make them upset. They may have unreasonable expectations from you or from life. They may have their own idiotic beliefs, etc., etc. And the reality is, you can't change all of that. You have to live with the person. You have to find a way. And for that to happen, you sometimes have to do things which may seem unnecessary but will maintain harmony in the relationship. And doing those things is compromise. Let's take an example. Your wife has an unreasonable expectation from you that every time you're running late, even for 10-15 minutes, you have to tell her in advance. Like if you told her, I'll be home by 8, and if you're not home by 8:10, she'll get upset, she'll actually fight with you. And you find this odd. Am I living in the army or something? Why can't she understand that 10, 15, 20 minutes late is not late? It's just part of life. Shit happens. But your wife still doesn't understand this. She just gets upset or anxious even when you're 5-10 minutes late. Now what do? Do you inform her or not? Do you change your style or not? Well, if you want peace in the house, you should. If you come back home and you don't want to see a wife ready to pounce on you, you should inform. But the question is, if you ask other people, is it wrong to not inform if you're just late by 15 minutes? Most will say absolutely not. I mean, on a casual day, who cares? It's not like we have to catch a train or something. It's not wrong. But again, your partner is not a perfectly rational being. And you have to adjust yourself to this partially irrational human being. So do compromise wherever you can. Don't let your ego come in the way. And another benefit of compromise is when you change yourself a little bit for your partner, they also become more open to changing for you because we are built reciprocal in nature. So if both people constantly show intention to compromise, it loosens things up. Fifth and final principle for today, explain yourself almost always as much as you can. See, we talked about apology and compromise, right? But there will be times where it's not your mistake and you cannot even compromise because your partner is not the only important thing in your life, right? There are other things going on as well. So you have a duty to other areas of your life too. So you can't just infinitely mold yourself to your partner. Sometimes you have to categorically say no as well. In such circumstances, make sure to explain yourself as much as you can. I always say that each adult ultimately has the right to disagree and right to not comply. Basically the right to say no. But to exercise this right humanely, always give reasons why you're saying no, at least for important issues, and especially in close relationships. Again, let's take an example. A husband is complaining to the wife, you use your phone too much when you're at home. But the wife actually does not. She genuinely uses it less than most people. She tries to give as much attention to husband as possible, but he just gets irritated when he sees phone in her hands. He wants more attention. So now the wife knows what the partner is claiming is pretty much wrong, and what he's asking is unreasonable. So what does she do? Should she say, shut up, don't bother me? Or something like, mind your own goddamn business? I hope not. Even though she knows that deep inside she's right, she cannot change anything, she still must engage in a conversation. She must explain the reasons why she's on the phone and why she can't stop it. See, I understand that you don't like it when I take work calls at home, but sometimes it's very important and I just have to. Why do you even come back to home? Like, just stay in your office. See, now that's unfair. I've only used my phone for 20 minutes. Rest of the time, I am at home. What 20 minutes? You're on phone half of the time. No, that's not right. We can check the call records. Now she actually must give the data. My first call lasted for 2 minutes, the next one about 5 minutes, and then 10 minutes. Total about 17 minutes, not even 20 minutes. Now husband realizes that it was actually not that much. So he adds another reason. It's not about time, it's about the disturbance. There is a vibe at home, we're just chilling and you're just interrupting it by your work calls. What's the emergency anyway? Why can't you just answer them later? Okay, I get it. Your vibe is ruined, that's why you're upset. And you're right, those were not emergencies. But I want you to also learn something, which is sometimes whatever we are doing is going to be interrupted by external circumstances. I think it's normal part of life. Like, you don't have work calls later at night, but you do get calls from your friends, and I accept that. These things are normal part of life. As long as those external things are not taking over completely, I think we are fine. Of course, it's fine for you, it's not fine for me. I'm sorry, but it is what it is. There will be some interruptions sometimes. I'll try to keep them to a minimum, but I can't guarantee zero. And the husband doesn't say anything, he looks away, stays upset for a while, and then just comes back to normal. Now, do you think the issue is resolved? No, it's not. Most likely, they're gonna fight again over the same issue. But the good thing is, first of all, by engaging with the person, you showed some respect. The wife answered every concern. That's very important. And in the long run, there is another benefit also. If you keep giving your reasons, with time, people often do understand as well. Sometimes you have to tell your perspective 50 times before it sinks in, but you have to keep telling. At least that's the best you can do. So even if you are doing things which are completely right and normal, still be very ready to explain yourself and give reasons why you're doing that. And now I'll give you one bonus point. Always remember the principle of acceptance. And here acceptance means accept the fact that there will always be some conflicts and complaints in your relationship. It's just part of the package. Don't start thinking like, why is this happening to me? Why did I have to get the most dissatisfied and complaining partner? First of all, I'm pretty sure they're not the most complaining. There are people much worse than your partner, for sure. Also, comparing your relationship to other relationships isn't really helpful. It only makes you feel worse, doesn't teach you anything, doesn't lead to growth. Each relationship comes with its own goods and bads, positives and negatives. Be grateful for the positives and work on the negatives patiently. Thanks for listening. And if these principles seem helpful, please make sure you subscribe and hit the bell icon. And of course, do share this with your partner. Shridhar Life School is a team of psychologists who specialize in counseling. If you're going through very difficult times or you want to achieve higher well-being, we offer one-on-one counseling for individuals, couples, parents, and their children. To book sessions, go to our website shridharlifeschool.com.